Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on UppTalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say UppTalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you're new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
From today, we will discuss on the dataset field types. There are basically when you create a data set. It is very important to understand the dataset types in field types basically. Dataset field types are of majorly 8 types. Integers, long, decimal, Boolean, instance, text, date, and currency. Integers is a 32-bit integer, and it won't have a decimal into it. And the range is very long. It has given a range because it's a 32-bit. If I want to have a bigger range, then I can go for long. Long as 64. Basically, you can see the length of the numeric one. Basically, integer long is 64. Long decimal comes under the numeric field type value. If my need is that I want a longer numeric value, then I will go for long. And if my is in within this range, I'll use the integers. Most probably it will fall under this segment, integers. But sometimes what happens is there might be some requirement where the financial data might go too long or it might show error. Sometimes for a buffer, we sometimes also take long as decimal also. Decimal is also very self-explanatory that it's a decimal one. But here is that maximum decimal should be of 38 digits. 38 digit in total after and before decimal in total, but maximum of 18 digits digit after the decimal. If the maximum limit for 18 digit has met, then after that, I won't be the difference between 38 and 18, it will be around 20, I guess. Yes, 20. I won't be able to get the data after that limit. In most of the cases, we generally don't resist limit unless you work with any such. That is the thing. Boolean is a true-false condition which that is a 0 or 1. It's true or false. And then instances are there, and instances are basically instances. Let's say you work for Workday reporting. Instance is a one-to-many relationship. Let's say worker is there. A worker is there and the dependents are there. The value is multi-instance for worker to dependent. Because let's say there's a worker with the name of, let's say I will give name as Steve. Let's say Steve has dependent. One is her spouse, which is spouse. Then there will be Max and there will be Katie. Son and daughter. This is what one worker and man relationship. This is a multi-instance. What is single instance? That Steve. Then worker and his work location. Generally, when you work for a company, you generally have one work location and not more than. Let's say if Steve is there and his work location is California, then California will be the only one, unless there is a case where he has a flexibility working sometimes. What happened is that person might have different roles, but their primary work location is one. Anyone which is California or any city. Why? Because for the taxation, it is easy for all the calculation. It is very easy to have only one location in that way. Is it understandable? Yes, it's an instance, it will have only one value for it. There might be chances it will have But the primary, it will have one primary location which won't change. This is another example of this is that here is a personal home address. Steve will have only one home address and he won't have multiple home address that we can get this instant time. Yes, then we come to text. Text is a maximum length of 2147. It's a very huge thing, but here there are chances is that this text might also get this limit says may exceed as in some cases not in daily operations. Sometimes what happens is people also use JD to extract the data, which is job description. Job description are lengthy. Still, this limit doesn't exceed. But sometimes during such scenarios, you might feel that it is somewhat reaching to that particular limit. Then there's a date type. In Workday, in a Prism, there is no that the date type is combined with the time of the day with fraction second based upon 24 hours clock. That means that let's say the date is there. Let's say today is 30 September. The date will be 30 September and at 4:12 am, which is midnight, it will come as Dalanzid. And if it's evening, let's say today, now it's India, it will come as 30 September 1814. You wonder for the seconds, it will be in that format. It's a 24-hour clock for. There's no any date and time zone concept. Time zone is we generally know that there are data just EST, CST, IST, GMT time zone. In PISM still there is no any time zone concept for now. Then there is also currency format as currency which deals with the currency. But for that there should be a separate column for it. There is a specific settings which has to be done. What we keep in mind that we will see once we create the dataset. I doubt till here in the dataset field types. It's a straightforward. It's a fixed pretty few and read also you will be able to understand it. Also one more thing is reached text are also not supported. What are rich text? Rich that text are also are known as the text type in which I can do the modification. Let's say this two are different formats. This is range from and this particular value is in bold. If I also convert to italic it will convert into italic format or underline as rich text are the text which we are able to do the formatting of it. Yes, the bold italic underline that is not supported. In Prism, in case if you get in the requirement, you can just say that it's not supported. The text covers all these, the literal side, the dollar sign or anything goes to in under text. Yes, it will go or it will take all the alphanumeric values you can enter in text. What happens is sometimes when you enter, what happens is sometimes when you get the data from external system, Workday automatically tries to identify the data types and assign the data types automatically, sometimes in numeric value also. There are chances it might take in a text format. You can change the field type from the manage field stage and you can change it from there as, but it will consider number in text as you have to let the Workday know that I don't want this one 3, 4 in text. I want it into the integer, long or decimal, whatever format I want. Good. Yes, then we will come to the create data set. As we came across, we discussed that file. SFTP custom report will be able to create a base data set out of it. There are a few prerequisites which we need to keep in mind. When we create a base data set, the file which we upload, it should be maximum of file. Size should be not exceed to 500 MB and it was previously 256 MB, but now they have increase to 500 MB, and in such scenarios it might also, depending on the file format and all, it will go up to 256 MB. Only the preferred, it is preferred to zip large file to upload it efficiently, and zip is only compression format currently supported in Prism. It keeps on adding new types of zipping format, but currently zip is only preferred. What we will do is that semi file size is 750 MB. It will compress and try to zip it under 500 MB depending on the file size. 1 GB can be compressed completely. Find MB, but at an extent it can compress it. What Prism does is when we compress any file, it will automatically unzip and it will convert it and upload it into the Workday. Yes, 1. Question. Let's see somebody is uploading. Now maybe the file is more than fine. They need to upload multiple times or the rest. Yes, that can be done by 2. Concepts first of all is that they can have a multiple file, or secondly they can go for SFTP. Both are the options. If I am uploading the file from my system only, then I need to definitely divide into the different from segments. I need to break it up with 500 MB. Let's say I have 2 GB data. I can break it up in 4 files if it's my system. But let's say if I'm receiving, if I can put it into SFTP and I can pull it via SFTP, then the compressed file can go up to the 1 GB compressed, or if I'm going for uncompressed 1, it can go up to maximum 10 GB. It has some compressed. Got. And this is how I can do it for the files for STP, as I told you. 1 GB for compressed, 10 GB for uncompressed. The time for transfer should be less than 6 hours. When we give any files FTP, no matter the files is 10 GB, I should keep my server efficient enough and my file size is short enough, as small enough that it can be transferred from as FTP to the Prism within 6 hours. If not, then it will expire or hold the transfer and will eventually generate an error. Is that within 6 hours, or it will roll back 0? It won't do off. Let's say I'm uploading my file. It is taking no more than 6 hours. The file is completely rejected or my partial data loaded. No, it will completely reject it. It will consider as that file wasn't received. It's working that way because sometimes what happens is it still depends, for there are 2 cases whether we replace or append it. If we replace it, then the data I won't find, because what it does is it removes the previous data and it replaces with the current one. First of all, it replaces the data and uploads a newer one. In that, if it fails, the data set will be completely blank. And the second case, append already, the data will be there. It won't error out, but definitely won't have the updated data in your data set. These are the cases for the custom report. For the custom report, when we upload, it should be advanced report only. No other reports are supported apart from the custom report, which is advanced report pack. And the reports must be enabled as a web service and also enabled for Prismatics, where I will show you. Yes, this is an advanced report. If you can see here, the web service option, enable as a web service. It should be tick marked as yes and enable for Prism. It will be yes. Currently it's disabled. If I want to enable it, I can go to the custom report. I can go to the related action here and edit it. I will go to the edit option. And after going to the edit option, I will go to advanced, and in advanced, I need to come over here. Enable as a web service. It will ask me for web service API, automatically. Namespace will come over here, the version. Let's say if I want to also pull this file via API, not in Workday, but the integration, I can do it. I will take market this. All things will be automatically generated, and I need to also enable for Prism as I will do this. Once I do this and save, then only it will be available for me in the tenant to work upon. Yes, let's go back. If you don't mind an audio, how did you go to that worker? Just use search in the tenant. This report, yes, I haven't created any report for now. I just randomly search for the any advanced report which was available. What I can do is, if I want to search for any particular your report, there's a task all custom report, all custom reports. Yes, I just pick randomly. Here I can do is I can type the report name if I know it, or what I can do is I can report type as advanced. Here again, selected it will only give me all the advanced report which are made in the tenant. I can also mention the date and time created or updated last. Here there are 2302. 232 reports, which are custom reports made in the tenant, which are advanced custom reports, not other matrix. Composite are different. Here, if I see this one, if I open a new field, a new tab, you can copy this custom report, save as a different custom report. Yes, it's custom report. We can add it and save it and make a copy of it. Standard reports, we are. There are two types. Espresso and expression report writer, we can copy. Edit the express reports, but we can make a copy of it. Report writer type standard reports, and we can do the working. Here we can go to advanced and we can enable as a web service and enable for Prism from here. By test we saw that the report type should be advanced report, and this two option enable as a web service and enable for Prismatics, it would be enabled in this one. Apart from it, if custom report has currency field, you must select the show currency column option and shared with, and I will. First of all, show that as, let's say this is a compensation report. No, this is not a compensation report. Let me find an existing one. Let me check if I am able to put it on action even. Thank you. Thank you. When you open any report over here in format option, here in options, I need to enable it. I will show you if there's any field with the name of currency. Yes, there is a field with the currency. Yes, when you also enable this advanced report for web services, see here, you can see the web services in a list. Yes, in columnar field name will be there. Let's say employed is there, it will. It will also have XML allies, which is employee underscore it. It won't have any space between them. That is the thing which is a good to know. See, show currency symbol or show currency code. Here it is showing we need to enable it. Once we enable it, it will take in terms of currency because in a workday there is no any particular in present. There is no any particular data type as a currency. We need to add a column here in option into selected that we will be able to see in the currency format. Basically, a separate column will be created for the same. This is custom reports. That's why we have access to add the custom. Let's say if you are creating from a file or SFTP, do we need to change? How we are going to change in the file, or does it? Yes, for the file, it won't take it. What I can do is I can manage. It will be in a numeric format only. And in other column, I can basically enter a symbol for the currency which I am working for. But we can't convert the currency format into it. There are some certain limitations, and basically they're working for it. In a new release, they might include something, which by that the file which we upload, that can be also resolved for that one. Got. And what can be done is when it comes to Workday, we can use it for calculation also when the report get published here as we create. Advanced report data source, you will get a name PDs. Let's say create a data, publish data set. The data source will be, let's say, PDs all worker data. Then I can search that PDs over here. Here if I click on it, you will be able to see that here it is written. Let me show. Data source type index. Here it is showing index and there's some workday delivered as that degree. But when you open for the Prism one, it will show us. See, but they only is over here. Workday owned. When you go for Prism data source, it will show as Prism enabled or some Prism. Name will be there. Is already published. Currently this worker name is selected. I won't be able to search it because there will be limitations of the worker data source only because already created. But once I create it, when I will use it, here the PDF name and the business object will be the same name. That is the thing we will cover in detail. No worries. When we actually work on it, yes, when we use any custom report for it, the shared report. The report should be shared or owned by the user who is actually importing that data from that report. Here we saw that this report is created and we go to share, it's not created. It's created by someone else and it's owned by someone else and it might not be shared with us. If it's shared with us or it is owned by us, then and only then we will be able to access it in a more efficient way. Yes, and here are the stages. Stages, what do is stages? We will walk and discuss together with other details. Let me go to the deal worker. Not bad. Yes, I will create a text file. Country worker, country. Or first name, last name, country location, and I will give I rotate, or let's say I had it. Or give me phone number, at least just for an example, phone number. Here, Steve. Morgan and location is basically, I'm not able to send any file to this particular server. I have to create it now, just for example. But in your system, you will be able to send the file and do the working. You want to say it, blind gateway. Hit check. I will save this file as a CSV. Save as here. Basically, what I can do is I can learn this PC downloads. Only I will save. We have to go. Today we are trying to create we will try to cover the how to create data sets and basic-based data set. In the data sets, what you can do is you can use this particular means. You can practice this one for from here and from file download test to open file upload complete. There is also a reason behind that file limit has to be limited to 500 MB because when you upload a file, it actually works in the background. That is the reason. See here, you can see when we create a report. You saw that when we create a base data set for a sample file, and I will also open the sample file for the reference and side by side, or else it will be reflected over here. Here you can see, is it visible for you? Here you can see it. We created Steve Morgan, California, US, and these columns are there. And after the parsing, it is very important here. The first concept of base data set is, let me show this one. The first stage of any base data set ARA, a parser, is automatically added when you create a base data set. Using external data file SFTP, it is a main one and you can't delete or add. Even I can't. To delete or add any parts data, it will by default there and you can remove or add a parts. Data set in between, as this is the main primary stage for base data set, not other data sets. Here when we see that Steve Morgan, we uploaded a file in this format and we saw here we missed writing New York. After New York, we forgot to enter the country and we directly write the phone number. Here what happens is it parsed and it created automatically. It identified first name, last name, location, country, and phone number. But because I haven't mentioned USA, it has taken the immediate value. After the comma over here, it's the best example which you said that here it identified. Here, that it's a numeric value. You can see it's a numeric value. If I click over here, it's integer. It's a numeric value. Integer is also numeric value. All the things are text. Because the user was text, it also considered 360 value as a text only in some cases. A whole column is of in numeric format. There are chances that our Workday or Prism automatically identifies as a text. We can change it if you want, but in this case, we can't do it because it's a mix of text and numeric value. Now over here, this way, there is, once you upload it, we can change. What is the next options? Though we forgot to add the continuum, there is a way to upload. No, we need to. Yes, we can re-upload it. What we can do is we can hear that is the option which you are seeing that when we pass the data and you create a data set, we pass it. The first is parsing. It will show us we can compare the value. The main motive regard for introducing this is phases that when you create parser data, it will show us raw data and we'll be able to understand how the parsing is done. Parsing is nothing, just a Prism way to identify the data and convert it and put it in respective columns. Let's say if I saw that this particular thing is wrong, I can cancel it and I can also correct my file again and I can re-upload it again. This is very beneficial for us to check. And let's say this is a short file. If the file is long, we can go over here. I can see that these findings. Here you can see the first name has 0 nulls. Unique values are 3. Last name has also 3 locations are also unique country. Is all unique, but because phone number is in 1 null value, it will show as 1. This is to identify the data. The main purpose of parts is to compare the raw file with the past one. And also on the macro to see the data, what is the data? Look how the data looks. And if I want to see the detailed data, I can click over here. It will give a detail. What we will do is we can go to cancel and discard and we will again correct it. And let me update as USA over here. And save. Again go to create and go to from file. Any No, there's a space in this test the file. One extra space, the trial space, the forward space. Automatically thinks it's a space. Can you come again? Let me open the file. Yes. See, there is space between compared to other one. How are we going to take this? That we can configure in the Prism itself. When I will explain, I will show you. Here, I intentionally kept the space just to show you. I will go to minimize and let's say I will create it. Go to file and I will upload the test file over here. Again, it will show me the file. It will upload the file. It depends here. The file size is very small. Over there, I can hide. It's uploaded quickly, but sometimes it may also take time. Again, you can see it's all correct now. Now I'm coming to a question in a minute. Here, first of all, again, there is a stage description. Here I can mean a name of state description. Let's say my file type is test, but I want to name something that what is that particular state is doing. I can mention that this particular base data set or the state is getting the worker personal data. Worker I can mention. Let's say if any other Prism admin or any developer is working on this, you will be able to identify that. What kind of data? It is because for now it is easily identical for us that it's a personal data, but sometimes the data is mixed of all and there are some genetic values with other values. The basic data employed in it all will be there by default. But what if it's mixed with other organizational data or compensation data? I can mention that worker data with comp data. That is the option. That is why I can write a description for others to understand. Basically, then again, the next option is row delimited. Select the character separates new value. Here it want to know that when it should get a new, when it should create, go to the new. We have mentioned any new line. When a line completes and breaks, it will consider that break as a new row. Basically, it wants to identify when it should consider new. Because sometimes what happens here, the data here we are getting it is in different rows. Sometimes the data would be continuous. What happened is it might be break particular character. See, I can click over here. It might break with a pipe or Control A or that different things, colon. It will Steve Morgan, California, USA. This number will be there and let's say colon is there. After colon Logan McNeil, Austin, USA will be there and then again colon will be there. Data is in one line and not break in line. I will let that know. See if I do this in colon and go to pass, you can see the data won't come in a correct way. you can see the data is in incorrect format because I haven't used the option. If I go here and I will mention that my data it automatically identifies. But let's say it's not able to identify. I can mention that any new line is a new row. Likewise, it will keep the data in the correct format. This is a functionality provided to Workday. Prism is very smart in this. It understands the type of data and do it automatically for us. But in case it doesn't us, we have this functionality to work upon. Then comes the field delimited. Here we saw that the field is there and the field is separated by the columns, is by delimitation comma. Here it needs to identify when to keep the data into the next row after Steve. Morgan is coming, whether it should include Morgan with Steve. Steve Morgan as in one column or it should be done in a separate column. The identifier for the field delimitation is comma. It might be tab colon, semicolon type or any of the option. Controller, whatever it is. That is the thing we can use it. The other options field name. Here you can see this data here. We uploaded the file this. The first row is first name, last name, location. But the raw data, it is only staying from Steve. Why? Because we have enabled this option that use value from the first row field names. That's why if you go to the parse, we can see that it has automatically selected the name of it. If I unselect it, be able to see that in raw data also. Let me see. See this? Show you the raw data. In raw data sets coming first name, last name and parts also. First name is also coming in this row as a data. Here if I select field name, it will automatically take the first row as a header. In simple terms, it will take first row as a header. In raw data, also that particular header won't come. Then escape character. Let's say if there's a line breaker or if I want to escape any character, I want to exclude it. I don't want that character to be included, but it's just in the file. Let's say if I'm commenting any data, I can include this backslash. It won't consider the value between that impact. Let's say here in Steve Morgan, I want to add any comment that this person is a CEO. But I don't have to consider it while working on it. I can mention that comment in the backslash. How it will write is I still Morgan. This is a backslash. This and CEO this. It will automatically consider to ignore this particular. It's a commenting basically. It will ignore it. It is a escape character. It won't consider it when it assigns a backslash. And it is not important. We only need to click backslash. We can see the list. Here the double quote is forward slash backslash and none also is option there. That we don't need if we have this 3 character in our list and there are chances that it will escape the character. In order to avoid, what we can do is we can use this none option. And why this 3 option? Because let's say sometimes we want data in double quote. Also, let's say if we are sending in data, let's say job description might, there are details of the job description in the worker. It's a too long text. And sometimes it mentions exclusive requirement of the job description that this person should have a good hands-on in Workday HCM. Workday HCM might be in a double quote. Avoid the escape character. We generally don't select double quote over here. Same goes to quote character. If you want to quote a character, it should be in double quote. It will consider that to include. If Steve is there in double quote, it will take in double quote only. It won't consider as a escape character. It will come in a quote rows to ignore. Here we have given 0, then your question comes, stream leading and trailing white spaces, the character. Here, if you see, this is known as white space. It is known as white space in technical language. It will prime it. If I won't prim, let me show here, it might show the type of character maybe. If I won't trim, it might not impact you in the way you see the data, but in fact format, it might give. In Teresa, I think in Teresa we have given. No, it's also we haven't given, but basically it is understandable. It will bring the leading and white trailing white spaces before this space and after this place. Let's say I give space and you give the comma. It will also ignore this one. That is the case in this. You need to select the option in general. Yes, we need to select the option. By default, it will be selected because there are multiple cases when this option is actually creates issue. But sometimes we actually intentionally keep that white space for any requirement. That's the reason. By default, it's selected. We can also undo it, unselect it if we want. Field value contains a new line. Let's say if any field value is there and it's a new line, it creates a new line, it breaks the line. Then I can click over here, rows to ignore. If I want to ignore second row, third row, and or 23 rows, I can name it over here. It will ignore the rows and will only consider the remaining ones. When I create, you see that it will automatically give us to pass, then go to. Next, it will ask for the name. Always it's a standard practice provided by the Workday to always name as B's then your name. Initials if you want, I will keep as DV I will mention, and I will name worker. Data I can also here, if you see, I type it over here, the data set. API will also come over here, data set API. I can change it. Now see, I can change it. Over now it does. It shouldn't have any space between them. But if I want to do a separation, I can use underscore. But once I create it, I save it. I won't be able to edit the API name later, which is using integration. Apart from it, I will also mention the description of the data. Set what this data set data consists of, or if let's say in the previous one, what happens is we can mention the scale description that this is a worker data and you can mention that how we have passed the data, that's the date. The data was in other format and we will use this option. I can mention those details that we pass the data with particular options, but here we can mention the detail of that stage, that what that data set data consists of. Then there's a tag. Tag is for a reference. Let's say if I'm creating a project and or I'm trying with a project which is something related to learning. I'm creating a data set for learning. I can create a learning as, but let's say currently I don't have any, I haven't created. It's not in the list. Always I can type over here and it will ask for create. It will create from here only. I don't need to go again back and do all the process. It will create it for me and the tag will be assigned with personal data, and see as we save it, we will see the base data set to be created in the system in the data catalog. Here it will show us in a view format. Here you can see that detail is there. Description is empty because we haven't entered the description of it. API name is over here. The integration mode is replaced. When we get in a new file, it will replace it, that we can change it if you want to replace. Or let's say if I again go over here and upload the file, it will replace it and would append it. That is, we can change it anytime when we want. then the tag and last successfully published. It's now published. Its creation date, created by and last modified it, and who modified it, and the data source security is applied or not, or what is the status is the detail will show over here, and here is the format of it. If I want to publish it, what I can do is I can go to quick action and I can publish it or upload a new file from here. If I upload a new file, I can. There are two ways I can in later action. In red action, I can go and data set, or I can do the truncate or something that, or there's an option somewhere here. But generally the shortcut is this one, and we're going to go quick action, and you can upload a file, the latest data. Here we maximum. I can see the data sample as 20k rows, not more than that. And here as I go to activities, I can see if I have published a data set. If I come here and if I publish the data set, I can see the published request that is public on this date published. Status is successfully completed in progress or field, and how many rows published here. Let's say if that row data is, let's say here I publish the data and the data is of 3 row, the 3 row will come that the 3 row published, submitted by who I did it, or I did a schedule of it, or how. This is how we create a derived based data dataset in Workday using any questions still here. It looks good, it's good, I'm good. When we go to edit option in the base dataset, I will click on this. I will click on it and dataset, and here edit transformation. I can also go to view lineage. If I see view lineage, I will also nothing. Why? Because we just created a base dataset. It is not linked with any other thing. That alone dataset will be. We are only able to see, and always the base data set is represented by the line blue color over here. If it is a derived data set, it will come as an orange color. It is the lineage. Also, we can see the field types and all how it is connected on whatnot. If I go to here, I go to edit transformation. It will open in the edit format. Here I created the data set I imported. The data. But what if I want to do some modification? Here I can see the past. Let's say I created data, but I forgot that here I in hurry. I did a mistake and I'm getting the incorrect data. I still can go to the past stage, which is the compulsory one. I can't add or delete it. I can go to edit and I can do the changes what I want over here. Here. Yes, I can see it's an old video window which we saw the past stage. I will go to cancel, and this is the one. Now there's an option for add stage. Add stage. When I click it, I will only get the data for filter group by and manage free. But when I will go to derive dataset, I will give the multiple option that I will cover when we will go for derived datasets. But just for understanding, filter is filtering the data for a particular value. Let's say I enter the value for filter. I can go to filter and here it will ask that if all or if any, if all it should. Let's say I mentioned 2 conditions. Does it want to filter on all the condition or if any is met? Let's say if I create 2 fields, that let's say one field is location is equal to California. And I add another field which is based upon our filter. It automatically got this one. See, it filtered out the data. I am not able to see the rest fields. I think it got hanged. Add filter location is equal to California. Apply and I will add another field which is first name is equal to. There is sum and apply here. If I apply, if I have selected, if all, I am not able to see the data. But if I say if any of the filter condition met the filter, the data should be get filtered out. I will get a 2 rows. Why? Because this row I am getting because location condition has been met, and in the second I am getting because the second this condition has been met. This is the difference. And if I click all, if both the conditions are met, then only I will see the data. I will give the done and I will see that automatically the stage has been added over here. But let's say if I created this filter stage and I forgot, let me do it. Let me remove it and edit and is not null and apply. Let us see that we did. We create a filter stage and we forgot that we changes you made not be saved, cancel. Yes, you saw that we added a filter stage over here and our data will be filtered based upon the criteria. Didn't got refreshed. I need to do it again, filter at stage, and I will just mention a normal. Condition now, just that the data is very limited and we don't want the data to be too less. For us, I mentioned the user condition which is met by all. I create a filter condition over here. I will give first of all here. If I won't give save, all the data will get refreshed. All the working till now, it will get saved till here. Once we do the working, I forgot that. That before filter condition, I need to manage field. I do. I need to do some changes. What I can do is I can add or insert a new stage. It will come between filter and past it. Let's say manage field. What is the purpose of the management? In management, we can rename the field type or I can hide. I can hide and remove this. I can hide and remove the rows as here. If I show you the theoretical ones, you can see that manage field, change field names, types and visibility. If I show you over here it changes field name, type and visibility. The type we can change it. Currently, I can see that the first name is in text format. I can change it to other formats. Boolean, integer, long double numeric instance based upon site. What I did is I can change the type over here. I can change the name. First name, I want a name as legal name. I can do that. I can change the name and when I do it and I click outside, I will be able to see that when I give done or preview, when I give preview, I can see the changes applied over here. It's still not saved. If I give done and save over here, then only my working will be saved, but I can preview my working. Last same also I want to give legal names. Also, it will give me error. Why? Because I can't create a duplicate name and let's say I created legal name 1, then I can name it and I give preview either both names are over. Here, this is what I can do is I can change the name of the field. I can change the type of the field and I can also, let's say, if I don't want to see these two fields over here, I can hide it. Let's say whatever the input type or something, you changed it again by chance, you need to reload the file, it won't overwrite. This will start. What will happen in that scenario? Yes, cool question. Your question is that when you pass the data, your field is first name, it will automatically consider when I go to, let's say manage field over here, manage field. Here input name will remain the same first name, but here the output name, it will all automatically but converted to the new name which you want to give. That is what the meaning of stage is. A stage performs a single computation function such as joining date there. Data or parsing the data. A stage is a pipeline object that takes in the data, transform it some way and output some modified data. The previous data will be as it is because I know that my data will be coming in the first name and I want to change the legal name. That's the function of that particular stage is to maintain the previous data as it is and change it for the next data. It might impact in one case. Let's say here I have mentioned country, and let's say if I change the name of country as let's say country slash, I can say contractual country or work country. And what I will get an error over here because in this state I have only mentioned country. The prism will get confused that you entered country over there. You entered the filter condition country, but I'm not able to find any field name with the name of country. And please correct it, and this is the error. Here it will impact. But when we get the pause data here, it won't impact. Here, the work country will be there. It won't impact. It will see here. Still the original name will be there. Input name is country and output name is changing. Basically, it's a processing one. Input country, output work country. It works as a converter basically. When we get a current from AC and we current to AC. DC current. Let's say we have a mobile charger. It converts the type of the electricity we receive. It's a converter. It doesn't forget the data, that type of electricity it is receiving. It is similar way. It won't forget the type it is receiving. It works as a converter. Got it? Yes, that we can do it in this state. Also, we can move this file. Let's say I don't want a first name over here. I want the country on the top. I can do the multiple selecting, and if I don't want to do multiple selecting, I can only select one over here. I can select move row. For the generics are move first and move last and move row. After which one? I can mention after first name, last name, and I want to keep on top. What I can do is I can go over here and move first. This is how I can do the formatting, as this won't change the data which I'm getting from above one. It won't affect the data which is getting from here. It will impact the stage, which is the next one, which is the filter one. I will be able to see the stages over here. Find out here, yes, I will also quickly cover the group by. Group by is basically here, if we see the definition of the group by, it reduces the number of records by summarizing the group of records within the data set. What group by does is it summarize the data. Let me go to the tenant. I go to group by. Group by, I will choose by how we want to group it. Group by country and the count of the people. Here you can see it is summarizing the data. I won't get the details over here and here. User is there and count is 3. Yes, here it is very here. You can see that I am not getting 3 rows for each one. I just group the data based upon the country and I'm getting the total number of records for that country. I can summarize that it's not only one. I can do the multiple summarization but here as we don't have many combinations of it, it will give us 3 rows because we don't have that different margin data. It's a country and that there are different. Let's say in USA that too, a people with the name of Paris and here count will come as books, but because we have the unique one, it is coming as this one. Yes. It's a grouping. I can delete it and I can do it. Any doubt till here? For good. And apart from summarizing, what I can do is I can go to add summarization. Here I am getting the count. I can go over here. I can get the sum. I can get the maximum value. I can get the average minimum. If I give the minimum of what? Phone number. It will get the summary is a phone number. The minimum phone number value, because here the phone number is in a numeric one. The shorter the one, 2, 3, 4 is the shorter one. It is getting with this one. If I get the maximum or the sum of the phone number, it will sum all the phone numbers for me. Let's say it's not a phone number. Let's assume it's a total basis pay of the 3 workers. It will sum over here the total waste pay. I will be able to understand. I am paying 3 workers total 1 lakh or whatever the amount I am summing up, but I can do the average of it as let's keep as a count over here and give them you can see. I will quickly give save cancel switched. I'll just take 2 minutes just to summarize it. That you will be able to practice it until the next session and we can cover the data. That DDS is a data set in the next session. Let me go to edit the transformation. Thank you. Here you can see it is grouped by the country. Here you can see that if we see the first, this manage field, I can see these columns, but I modified it over here. I'm able to see this and in group by stages, it is this. Basically, you can see in each stage it is getting the data. It is doing some modification that stage and outputting it to the data. This one basically for this stage. The input is parts and output is the filter stage. For filter manage fit is the input one and output is the group by. Likewise, I can add as much as stage as possible depending on the requirement, but maximum I can add means maximum, as in I can work between 3 filters only. Not more than this, because I have only this option for the base data set. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.